Hello and welcome to the gojenn vlog of February. Today is Tuesday, February the 6th. How is everybody doing? Today I want to talk just very briefly about how the Harry Potter Knitting and Crochet House Cup works. I know I've talked about it practically every week on the podcast, but I thought I would tell you more about how it works or how I make it work for me, because I like to, I'm going to make whatever I'm going to make, but I like to figure out how to make it work within the imaginary world of Harry Potter Knitting and Crochet House Cup and in the game Nerdopolis. And starting on February 9th, Friday, the Ravellenic Games are going to be starting on Ravelry. That's another game. It's a pretend where it runs the same length of time as the Winter Olympics, and you do crafting and fit that into certain areas for imaginary points. So hold on, I'm going to turn you around and show you how I figure things out. Bella just went to the spa today and got a haircut and a nice bath and a soak. Now she's scratching her ears because I don't know if she got some soap left in them or what, but she's just been scratching and itching. So anyway, one of the things that I do is to look at all the categories on the Harry Potter Knitting and Crochet House Cup. The categories are like the classes in the pretend Hogwarts world. So I need a pair of new mittens, so I'm thinking about making some crochet mittens, and my daughter has requested a hat and a poncho. I'm not ready for the poncho, that's a big project, but the hat I'm thinking about starting. So given these topics and their requirements, I'm going to make a pair of green mittens, and the hat is going to be kind of grayish natural. So I already know that that's two things I want to make. So when I go down the list here in the Harry Potter Knitting and Crochet House Cup, and I typed this up on my own. It's not out there. Each separate subject has its own thread. But under Muggle Studies, this month they're focusing on Muggle home improvement. And if you know Harry Potter, you know what a Muggle is. And they wanted something inspired by home improvement or using green or brown yarn. Okay, that's my mittens. I'm going to use green yarn for the mittens. Okay, when I look up here under divination, they want us to be inspired by flames, smoke, or ash, or the colors of smoke, fire, or ash. Okay, I've got a hat that's kind of a grayish color, or, you know, the natural color of yarn. So that's going to be my daughter's hat for divination. So that's two classes that I have planned out. Then if I want to work something else in, I always can. And these are classes, not the big projects like the owl projects. Okay, so I know what I'm going to do for the hat and the mittens. All class projects have to be started and ended within that month. So any of my whips that have already been started don't count. My owl projects don't count for classes. You can't double dip within Harry Potter. you can double dip from Harry Potter to Nerdopolis. Okay. Nerdopolis is very similar in that they issue different challenges the first of the month. So for Nerdopolis University, they want you to make something using a free pattern. Well, the mittens are a free pattern that I found on Ravelry. So that's going to be that challenge. And if I make the mittens, I can put them there. So yes, I can put them up here for Muggle Studies that they're green, and down here in Nerdopolis because I'm going to use a free pattern. The other project that I'm planning is the hat. So I have looked up under the wildcard prompt, they wanted you to make something that's Google Doodle inspired. And you can Google the Google Doodles. And I found one, I wrote it down on my calendar at work. I think it's Bastille Day for 2014. The design was crocheted. So anything I make that's crocheted, I can use that and say that I was inspired by that Google Doodle. So that's how I'm set for Harry Potter and Nerdopolis. As I mentioned, going along with the Winter Olympics will be the Ravellenics. And we used to call them, years ago, we used to have the Ravellympics and spell it like Olympics. But then the actual United States Olympic Committee contacted Ravelry and said, no, you can't do that. It's an infringement of our copyright of the term Olympics. And so we had to come up with something else. And we now call them the Ravellenic Games, which is a form. The Olympics were originally called the Hellenic Games in Greece. So that's what we're doing now, and we've just changed the name. And to be like the Olympics, we have different events. And you see here, I've just made a list. Afghan, the Alpine Afghan combined, the bag biathlon, cowl, curling, aerial, unwind. I'm going to do this because I have a whip that I found that I'm going to frog, and so I'm going to enter that into that event. Hat, half pipe. If I make my daughter's hat, I can put it there. And mitten moguls, event hand, I can put my mittens there. I've also looked at this cross-country living to maybe put some of my granny squares. If I make any of those, I can put those there. So you can enter into the events. And then the events also have laurels. So if I were making a colorwork hat, I could use the laurel colorwork, or cable, beads, dyeing, felting, all of these things. If I make my mittens out of one skein of yarn, I can use laurel single skein. Or if I use something that's been in stash for more than 6 months, I can do that one. It's just, to me, it's just a fun way to motivate myself to craft. Hold on a second. And here I am again. As I said, I don't feel obligated necessarily to do anything for any of these imaginary point things. It's just it's something to track, which appeals to my accountant's brain. It's to me, it's fun, and it does keep me encouraged to do things. So I just wanted to talk to you about that briefly tonight, and to tell you that, oh, do you know what is most responsible for dry skin? Towels. Duh. Until I see you tomorrow, I wish you nothing but love and laughter.